Shalom, Kohalor Yahweh Bashem Awashai Bahashim Rakakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever. To the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners, and to the Akwath that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you with another lesson in truth. And this video, first and foremost, I have to declare, the right to Information Act, the right to use this material for informational and educational purposes only. I am not benefiting from this financially in any way, form, or fashion. I do not own this interview. All right, this was a live show that went out over the internet on YouTube not that long ago by Ijoma Olu, and it was on Al Jazeera English. All right, so once again, Fair Use Act being declared, and yeah, so let's just get on with it. But what this woman has to understand, she wrote a book called Mediocrity of White Males, or something like that, The Dangerous Legacy. And that has been the MO, where she has to understand that there's no such thing as white. All right, that's first and foremost. You have to understand there's no such thing as white people. Right? They're the red people that the Bible speaks of. They are the Edomites. Right? They self-proclaimed themselves to be white in 1681 in Virginia by law. First time in law that it was ever used. It was in 1681 in Virginia. And of course, this woman is like a caramel, light brown, almost a red bone, if you would. All right? And they will still look at this woman and call her black. And there's absolutely nothing black about her skin. All right? I don't know how it's showing up on the camera, but right off the screen, even her hair is a dark shade of brown. All right? Her eyebrows are brown, and her skin is a very light brown, almost yellow with reddish hues. That's that ruddiness. That ruddy, that you look up ruddy goat, ruddy duck, ruddy horse, ruddy cow, and it's going to show you something that looks like a hair with red tones. It's not going to show you a pale person with rosy cheeks. All right, that's a Newspeak definition that they use to try to identify ruddy with being so-called white. All right, so you have to establish that fact before we go any further on anything. And you have to understand is that in Genesis, matter of fact, let's just get it. Why this man is the way he is, all right, is because by the sword he shall live. Actually, I'm in Wisdom of Solomon, so I'll start there first. I'm in Wisdom of Solomon, and I'm started at verse 6 of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, verse 6, and it reads, "Come, therefore, let us enjoy the good things that are present. Let us speedily use the creatures like as in youth." The creatures being people, animals, whatever. All right? "Let us fill ourselves with costly wine and ointments, and let no flower of spring pass us by. Let us crown ourselves with rosebuds before they be withered. Let none of us go without his part of voluptuousness. Let us leave tokens of our joyfulness in every place, for this is the portion, this and our lot in this." So, and they did. They got to Europe, and when they took over Europe, they tried to destroy and pretty much destroyed all the images of the actual brown-skinned, thick-lipped, wide-nosed Europeans that were there, who are not the same as so-called black people. The Etruscans, the Japhetic people, who are actually dark-complected people or brown-fleshed people, all right? And the images of the Negroes who did become rulers in most of Europe, all right? So that's what they did. Why? Because by the sword they shall live, all right? It says, "Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be law of justice. For that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth. So if they had swords and you had none, and you had no way to defend yourself, then you were feeble and nothing of worth. All right? Why? Because by the sword they shall live. So, which y'all, Yahweh Ratazah, we'll come back around to that. But let's let a little bit of this video play. Probably about 7 or 8 minutes of it, not much.
To relax, to focus on our craft. It was a retreat, that was really developed because women so rarely get a chance to focus on their work. And all we could really talk about and what we needed to talk about were these men, these white men that were impacting our lives and our careers so heavily. And in it, as people kept saying, why is this happening? What is behind this? I kept seeing the story unfold in front of me, the path that led to where we were in that particular time and where we are today. And I wanted other people to see it so that we could start looking at the patterns and looking at society as a whole, instead of treating each individual bad actor like an individual instead of part of a systemic problem. And so I wanted to really show that story to people so they could see it too.
We are live on YouTube right now. If you'd like to talk to Ujoma Oluo, you absolutely can. Jump into the comment section and be part of today's discussion. Our questions start with Edward McKinley, Ujoma, who is a big fan of your work. Here's Edward.
In her first book, the author wrote that if you are white, born, raised, and living in America, you are a racist, and we will not be able to reckon with our history of white supremacy, our history of racial violence, until white people like me are ready to lean into that fact and start doing some very strong and powerful inner work.
Now, this is beautiful because he's living visual explanation of what I just said, Mr. Edward McKinney. And remember those Mick names, meaning the son of, the original Irish and Scots, and English for that matter, were so-called Negroes, the tribes of Judah. And there's a mountain of evidence to prove that. They just choose not to look at it. But so, nevertheless, not judging the cover, the book by its cover, he appears to be an Edomite. You really have to test his spirit and talk to him and be around him to determine if he happens to be another heathen. But nevertheless, his outward appearance is that of an Edomite. And his skin is red. His beard is white. The wall to the side of him is white. He's not blending in and disappearing with either one. You can clearly see him. All right? The Lord didn't make white or black people. Those are social constructs that was created by the so-called white man. And I will never stop saying it until the kingdom has come, because it is true. All right. And so they've been hiding behind that white lie for so long. Right. And like I said, I'm going to read Genesis real quick. He just talked about white racism and that whole sort of thing. But here, this was Esau's blessing. All right. And this is Genesis 27:40. And it reads, and by the sword shalt thou live, thou shalt, Salakia, and by the sword shalt thou live, and shall serve thy brother, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, and thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And he's been using that sword when he broke that yoke all the way. That's how he got everything that he has up to this point. All right, through the use of the sword. And now he's to the point to where he is getting ready to let his strength be the law again, because his system is failing. America is falling, all right? The so-called white man is falling. And he's getting, historically, he can't come against us historically, so what does he do? What does he do? He used his media machine to just drown us out, cover up the evidence, and then use his platforms to say what he wants to say and have a one-sided dialogue where he controls the narrative, all right? But the best of their scholars could never sit down with any of us, any of the men of the great millstone, or any of the brothers that teach the likewise doctrine. Right? Because it's their own books and their own information that condemns them in the most part. All right? And this is in verse, and that's why the main people that get to be on the receiving end of Edomite oppression is Jacob, Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. Look what he did when he came over here and took the lands from my people. When he took America violently by the sword. All right. He broke every deal. And we're gonna read some of Job to finish that. But this is Genesis 27:41, and it reads, Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then I will slay my brother Jacob. And he's been slaying us and trying to wipe us out ever since. All right. But the Lord has kept us here, and he kept that remnant alive. The Lord, he clearly said that Jacob would not be utterly destroyed. But you best believe that he is getting ready to use that sword yet again. All right? Because this whole thing with the vaccinations and the viruses with number labels and all that stuff, the world ain't going. The people are not going, and the people are against it worldwide. All right? You get it. So the nations are split, the world is split, because you got half the world that knows that this is all not what they're saying it is, and then you got the rest of the population that fully believe it. All right, and that you're gonna have clashes in every society, everywhere where this is. All right, and World War III is at hand. So what Mr. Edward McKinley needs to understand is that until he can admit that he's an Edomite, that he's not white, they're never gonna get past anything. And guess what? That is about to happen. And behind closed doors, many have, and on the low, many have admitted they know who they are, but they're going to be forced to embrace their Edomite heritage, all right, by the Lord himself.
As far as questions for the author, I have a million, but I also think it's important that white people like myself start doing the work for themselves instead of putting people of color in the position of having to mentor us, teach us, guide us, and ultimately make us feel better about everything. We need to do this work. It's our turn.
What the heck did that mean? Do what work? No, the only work you're going to do is you're going into slavery for the crimes of your forefathers. All right? I don't want to play too much of this video because I don't want to get a strike or anything like that. As you know, when you use someone's face and et cetera, they come after you. So that was actually enough. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I'm going to go to the book of Job, the 20th chapter. And let me see. Let me get there first. Salakia. Yeah. You sneeze or cough now, everyone's looking at you crazy like you got, that thing. I saw a funny meme that had a milk carton and a reporter, and it had common cold and flu missing. Right? Like, have you seen this? Like, people don't get it anymore. Right? No one has a common cold or the flu anymore. Everything's that other stuff. All right? But this is Job, the 20th chapter, starting in verse 5. And it says, the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. So they've had their foot on our necks for so long, it seems like forever, but it's really been a short time. And though his excellency mounts up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? So he's going to be like you said, who turns around and cries when they flush the turd down the toilet? They're going to go away just like their own crap, man. He shall fly away as a dream and shall not be found. Yeah, he shall be chased away as a vision in the night. The eye which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place any more behold him. All right, and that's true, because when they have to build up the kingdom forever and serve 1,000 years of the most vicious chattel slavery the world has ever seen or heard of, and build up our nation, our the kingdom of heaven for free. All right, and then they're gonna be rounded up and annihilated and burned off the face of the earth. All right, as pursuant to Obadiah, and that prophecy hasn't happened because the children of Israel didn't having both northern and southern kingdom hasn't collectively burned and destroyed the Edomites. That hasn't happened yet. That's a future prophecy. All right, and then it reads, and they which saw him shall see him no more, neither shall his place be found any more. His children shall seek to please the poor, and his hands shall restore their goods, like Mr. McKinley was saying. All right, he's seeking to please the poor. It's too late for that. All right, his bones are full of the sins of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. You got too much blood on your hands. You live by the sword, and that's what she means by if you're a so-called white male, not only a white male, but a so-called white female. Because look, all the broken treaties when you took the land from the so-called natives, when you pushed the so-called Mexicans. Colorado, almost everything west of Colorado, California, New Mexico, Texas, parts of Colorado, okay, Nevada. You took all that from the so-called Mexican. Then you call them illegal aliens on their own land, man. Right? And you took that by violence, through force, through thievery. Right? You used biological warfare on my people. Blankets full of smallpox. Then you fast forward to then the land grabs. You gave free land to other Edomites that came over here, further advancing them. All right, taking lands that's not yours. Advancing that which is not your own. All right, you move up to the future. Redlining. All right, where you basically design ghettos, and then you put the heathen in there with businesses, and you all of you live off of them. All right, and then finally you have the housing, FHA, first 40 plus years of operation. It operated on a whites only mode. Only they could buy and own property. So you had a 400 plus year head start in wealth and power. And then you set up a systemic system of white superiority, so-called, from the schools to the education and to your politics, police department, fire department, and you let a few tokens in. But nevertheless, there's still a structure that has supported. But guess what? The joke's on you, because with those opioids, the Lord took so many of you out. Even if this change wasn't coming about, there's not enough of your adults, your baby making adults, there's not enough of you alive to replenish your people. You're past the point of no return. And then when you look at the amount of your women that are getting seeded up by brown men, Edomite women having babies with Jake, so-called Negroes, his so-called Hispanics, Edom Indian men, even Moab getting in on the action. All right. And so you people, you're done. You're done. This is it, man. Let's finish this scripture. This is back in Job. Yeah, this is verse 12, Job 20 and 12. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep still within his mouth. Yet his meat in his bowels is turned, is as gall as asp within him. So now he's poisoning himself from the inside out. All his philosophies, everything's coming back to bite him in the butt. Everything's failing. All right. He has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. God shall cast them out of his belly. So he's gonna vomit up, and all the riches he has, he's gonna give them right back up, man. Okay. I'm gonna just jump to verse 18 and 19. Finish with that. That which he labored for shall he restore. So all that you took and stole, you're gonna have to give it back. All right. And like Revelation 18:6 says, give unto you double. So the cup of affliction, the cup of slavery, the cup of misdealings. All right. It's gonna be bad. Your future is not looking good. All right. That's why I always say live it up, but you can't, because your own people got you on lockdown. All right. It says, that which he labored for shall he restore, and shall not swallow it down. According to his substance shall the restitution be, and he shall not rejoice therein. So you're not gonna rejoice, man. It's basically sad in miserable times, and it's only going to get worse for everyone, but especially you Edomites, all right? Because he have oppressed and have forsaken the poor, because he have violently taken away a house which he buildeth not. And that's what you did. You took away, you raped, robbed, murdered, and stole, and then you set up places of learning and churches as if you were righteous and pious, all right? And set up law houses where you push your corrupt law, all right? Got our people hidden away in prison houses with people that, which and all your investors that invest in these places and make money to keep them filled. And you have these crooked laws that make sure so-called black and brown men be the people that are the guests in your prison houses. But now through all the opioids and drugs, that's starting to change too. So with that, I'm gonna give all praises, going honor unto Yahweh, by Hashem, the Yahawashi, by Hashem Rakar Kodash, Wa Abba Bal, Kwam Yasharallah, Shalom.